also for Stockport County, number 6, Fraser Horsfall.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Football Rundown. We're back here to about Stockport County today, and more specifically a now ex-Stockport County defender, of course, Fraser Horsfall. News broke yesterday that Fraser Horsfall is going to be leaving Stockport County this summer. He will not be putting pen to paper on that new contract which was put in front of him a few weeks ago. By the sounds of it, he is going to be joining Blackpool, a fellow League One side, a League One rival, I suppose you could say. Both teams looking to push for promotion in this upcoming season. But it's massively disappointing news that he's going to be moving on. It's massively disappointing news he's not signed a new contract. And it's massively disappointing that he's going to be joining, as I say, a League One rival, someone that we are hopefully going to be in competition with to get a place in the Championship next season. What's happened here then? Obviously, we know his contract's expired. We knew his contract was up. Stockport County have been in discussions with him over the last few weeks with a contract on the table they felt was adequate enough. They felt was an acceptable contract. But Fraser Horsfall's obviously decided to take a contract elsewhere. So this is what Stockport County had to say then yesterday. Stockport County can confirm that the defender Fraser Horsfall will depart the club following the expiration of his contract, despite positive discussions taking place over a deal to extend his stay. Fraser's informed of his decision to accept a substantial offer elsewhere. So that's very interesting. It says there that he has accepted a substantial offer elsewhere. But we know that obviously it's a 4-year deal he's accepted at Blackpool, which for a player of his age, 28 years of age, you don't really get 4-year deals at this level for at sort of any age, never mind 28 years of age. So his agents worked wonders there to get him a 4-year deal. It sounds like he's been offered substantially more money as well. So you've got to look at it from a personal perspective. He's got the next 4 years of his future guaranteed. There's a contract there. He secured his future. He knows where he's going to be for the next 4 years now, which is important for a footballer, especially at this point in their career as well. He's probably got a family. So there is that too, and that's the rational way of looking at it. Maybe I wasn't looking at it through that way when I saw the news yesterday, just because of how disappointed I was that he is going to be leaving. We always knew there was a chance he was going to be leaving. We'd all heard rumours, I think, of him going to Huddersfield. We obviously know that he's born in Huddersfield. I think he grew up as a Huddersfield Town fan as well, so it made sense there. I also believe he still lives in Huddersfield as well, I think, so he has been commuting from Huddersfield to Stockport, of course, well, not even Stockport, towards Carrington for training each day. So it would have made sense to go to Huddersfield, obviously a fellow League One side as well. I think we could have got our head around that one. Blackpool seemed to sort of come out of nowhere, really. I'm not entirely sure where this offer from Blackpool has come from, but it's interesting because when you read the statement from the club as well, and also bits of what Sam Berners said, I'll go straight to what Sam Berners said and I'll go to what Simon Wilson said. Sam Berners said that, as always, his understanding of it was that discussions were ongoing during the season. The club felt agreement was there earlier this year for a new deal. Both agreed to finalise in summer and focus on the end of the season. It's absolutely fair enough to take a 4-year deal, is what he said, and I think he's spot on with that. It is absolutely fair enough for him to take on a 4-year deal. As I say, for him personally, that's a big thing. As I say, not many players get offered a 4-year deal at this level, so it's like a golden ticket. If you can get one, you take it. So yeah, I also think that he said here as well, Fraser Horsfall joined Blackpool on a 4-year deal after rejecting a new deal at Stockport County. My understanding of the situation is that Hatters felt a fair offer was made to retain Horsfall, with Blackpool outbidding all interested League One and Championship clubs. So it says there that there's been offers from not just League One clubs but also Championship clubs. It says about the quality of the player, and obviously clubs feel he's capable of playing at both League One and also the Championship, which was key for us because this means not only are we losing a player which we knew could have taken us potentially to the Championship, it's also a player which we knew was capable of potentially performing in the Championship to keep us in the Championship. So it is a hard one to take. It's a difficult one to take. As I say, Blackpool was a bit of a surprise, but it's a hell of a signing for Blackpool. I mean, if you think about the type of player Blackpool are getting, they're getting someone 28 years of age, so of a good age, just approaching his prime, you'd think as well, experienced, calm on the ball, leadership qualities, aerial threat as well, which I think he spoke about, he's being a threat in both boxes, both defensively and also offensively. His overall physical presence as well, we know obviously he's a strong defender, but like I say, calmness on the ball as well. He's bringing all that composure, leadership, experience, and it's going to add a lot to that Blackpool backline as well, of which they're going to need that, because Blackpool finished 11 points off the playoffs last season and 20 points off Stockport County. He's joining a Blackpool side which conceded, I think, 18 more goals in League One in the regular season than Stockport County last season. So, he's a much needed addition to their backline by the looks of it. And now I think this is a really good signing for Blackpool, because I think it's the kind of signing that, with a few others, can certainly be looking at closing the gap on the playoffs, if not getting themselves in there now. That says a lot about the quality of the player. I think, we all know he's a fantastic player, a fan favourite. We've all got a song from him at County. That's all gone now, and I think it is disappointing to lose him. Like I said, we always knew there was a chance he was going to be leaving this summer once we knew his contract was up. You could say, could we have got that deal done earlier? Could we have done it quicker? Could we not have put an offer on the table for him last summer, which would have prevented him from having other offers on the table? Could we have not got him on a 1 or 2 year deal then? Look, it's one of them, isn't it? We just got to accept it. For me, it is difficult to take because he's such a key player for us. And although I think that Ethan Pye overtook him last season, I think Ethan Pye almost became a better centre back than him last season. Ethan Pye looked a lot better and a lot more comfortable once Fraser Horsfall was back in the side again. Obviously, Fraser Horsfall missed a chunk of the season from I think just after Christmas. He got injured at Rotherham away, I think it was, and he came back in around sort of late March, early April. And I've got to be honest, we looked a lot more stable defensively in those last few weeks once Horsfall came back in, and that says a lot about what he adds to a team. I also felt that we were playing a 5 at the back a lot throughout the season, or 3 at the back if you like. We started to play with wingers and play with a back 4 a bit more when Horsfall came back into the side, which says about the trust that Challoner has in the team when a defender like Horsfall is available to go alongside Pye, as opposed to when Horsfall isn't there. So as good as Ethan Pye is, and we think obviously he's got a higher ceiling and potential than Fraser Horsfall, he isn't quite at a level yet where you can necessarily. I don't know. I just think that it takes a certain type of partner alongside Pye for Challoner to trust playing in a 2-back. Not a 2-back, but a 4-back with 2 centre backs. And I think that we did see a point when Horsfall was injured where we were playing Connolly in that as part of that back 3. So I think it's going to be a big loss, a big hole to fill in that defence. Like I say, I know we've still got Ethan Pye for now. There is, there has been speculation. There is a feeling that he could go on, sort of leave this summer as well. But I think now that Horsfall's gone, we cannot afford to lose both in one summer, surely. And I think it's going to bring a lot of questions into what team are we going to, how are we going to line up at the back? We've got to bring in someone which is capable of replacing him, because at the moment you're looking at, let's say we play a back 3, best combination at the moment would be, I don't know, probably Ethan Pye, Sam Hughes and Callum Connolly. I just think that's quite a weak back 3, to be honest. If we're looking at a back 4, then it's going to be Ethan Pye and Connolly, or Ethan Pye and Sam Hughes. And let's face it, we're not even sure what the future of Sam Hughes is going to be. And Callum Connolly got pushed out a lot in the sort of back end of the season, with Brad Hills and Horsfall and Pye being sort of preferred over him. So I think we've got to bring in a centre back of the sort of quality that can replace Fraser Horsfall, and that's going to be a really, really tough job, because, as I say, and he said it himself when asked about what he'll bring to that Blackpool side. He said those things himself about his aerial presence, a threat from both boxes, his calmness on the ball, his experience and leadership. He said that himself, and I think he also said in his interview, and the short clip I have seen since signing for Blackpool, he said that Blackpool are a big club and that they shouldn't be in League One. And I thought that was kind of an interesting point, because if you look at it, Stockport County and Blackpool last season, pretty much the same in terms of, I think they averaged pretty much the same amount of attendances last season with County. And obviously the context is that I think they've got an extra 5,000 or 6,000 seats than Stockport County. And when we played Blackpool away last August, we took around 4,000 away to Blackpool. So they are a big club for this level. They've gone, they've been in the Premier League sort of 15 years ago. I think they did the double over Liverpool. So they have had good points good points as a football club, don't get me wrong, but the project at County was a really good project. He's decided to walk away from that one to go to Blackpool, and that is a tough one to take. And I think it weakens us, and it heavily strengthens, as I say, a fellow league competitor. So it is disappointing, but like I say, Blackpool have got one hell of a defender. It sort of puts them a lot more in the playoff conversation now, having a player of his quality, and temporarily it leaves us feeling a little bit like, well, are we going to find someone better than him? And that's going to be the question. But as I say, if you go to what Simon Wilson was saying in his in sort of his statement, he spoke about it, and I've got it here. He said, we're of course disappointed by his decision, but are respectful of Fraser's choice and doing what he believes is the right thing for his career. Fraser has been a brilliant player for us and a big part of the club's recent success. However, as we have seen before, in these situations all parties move on quickly, and our attention focuses on the very good players we have in the building, as well as new opportunities in the market. He talked about the very good players we have in the building, but a key point there for me is opportunities in the market, and that is exactly what Stockport County are going to have to explore if they're going to find a player which is capable of replacing Fraser Horsfall, because there's no doubt we don't have a player like him in the squad currently, and we do need to find a replacement for him. Like I say, especially if someone like Ethan Pye was to move on, which I just don't think we can afford to have happen to us now. So disappointing news. It's caused a bit of a disagreement, online. Some people saying relax, we'll be fine, trust the process. Other people are panicking, and I actually see both sides. I understand the panic, I understand the disappointment, I understand the frustration, but I also understand that some are relaxed and saying, look, trust the process. The club knows what they're doing. And that has been proven to be true. We've had players leave last summer, which I was disappointed by myself personally, like Paddy Madden and Sarcevic. And look, we still managed to have a very, very good season back in League One without them. I would say, however, that I still think we never replaced Paddy Madden, and that's just my own personal opinion. I think that the amount of chances we had in that second leg against Leyton Orient, if we had a player like Paddy Madden on the pitch, I think we take one of those chances. So it's one of those, isn't it? I still never felt that we replaced Paddy Madden. A lot of people said then trust the process. We still went and had a very strong season, but in the end that thing for me was still missing. And in the end, did we ever replace that? Fraser Horsfall has to be replaced. We can't be left in a position where in a year from now or 6 months from now we're thinking, we didn't replace him. We've got to replace him. He's so important to us. So yeah, hopefully we can do that. But it is disappointing. We do move on though, like Sam Wilson said in his statement there. In football, we do move on very quickly because you've got to. Football's a results game. Things change very quickly as well. So it's like when Louis Barry left. Very quickly we move on because there's a season in front of us, and there's a season just around the corner for Stockport County. It's not quite, but it'll be here sooner than you think. And like I say, the job now for County is to start to build and sort of shape this squad ready for what is hopefully going to be a big season, hopefully a successful one. But it does make it that bit more difficult without a player of Fraser Horsfall's experience added to it. So yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on Fraser Horsfall leaving, of course. What your thoughts on this? Are you surprised by this, really? And who do you think could come in to replace him? Of course, we've been linked with a few names over the last few weeks, but nothing credible at this point, and we will be talking about it as and when we do have something credible on this channel, so don't miss that one. But of course, get your thoughts in for now. Don't forget to like the video if you have enjoyed it. Do subscribe if you're new, and hopefully we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.